What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Apocaflix Movies and the Padawan podcast, our all-Star Wars podcast. We're breaking down everything from the galaxy far, far away. I'm your host, Jake Berlin, aka Qui-Gonn Jake, and today we're going to be covering a little bit of a different topic here on the show. We're going to be drafting a Star Wars team, a team of characters who we think can defeat Palpatine and the First Order, the Empire, the Final Order, whatever you want to call it at this point. We're going to be drafting our characters with just $15. Certain characters are ranked to $8, $5, $3, and $1. And we're going to have to make some tough decisions. And who is joining me on that? That is Grand Admiralcino and Mr. Obi-Wan Jacobi himself. How you guys doing, guys?
Not too bad.
Hello there. How's it going?
Ready to talk some Star Wars? We got some difficult decisions coming our way.
I do.
It was tough. It was definitely it was hard to decide. I thought I had it figured out, but I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. So I think I put together a great team.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
We need to get you a Jedi robe.
I'd be down
when
for
we
that.
go to
he just reveals himself every time.
How much are they? Like $120?
No, they're legit ones, probably. More than likely,
we'll
probably.
No, because I remember, I think Christian Harloff was saying he was going to get a Sith robe, but it was like over $100.
Yeah, you can probably get like a real official one that's like great quality for a good price or for a high price.
Honestly,
like that.
that's a good investment. Like,
yeah, 100%.
I like how you started off. It sounded like you were like against it, and then you were like, "That's a really good investment."
Yeah, like you would get so much use out of it. Halloween costumes, just cosplay, anything.
When we go to trivia nights or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we'll have lightsabers too.
Yeah. How much was your Harry Potter robe?
Well, that was just a Halloween costume.
Oh, really?
So it must have been like $30.
No, it was 50.
It's good quality.
Yeah,
It's really good. Yeah.
Came with a really cheap one though.
It didn't come with the wand.
Oh, it didn't come with the wand?
I had my own.
That's okay.
Fair
You
enough,
get your
fair
wand from the Harry Potter world.
Yeah. No, I have
back
one
there.
already.
Yeah, it's back there.
A real one back there. My one that goes swoosh I've had since the 7th book came out.
Hey,
Oh,
I have
Lord.
an idea. Brian and Keith should do a Harry Potter podcast.
They would love that.
That would be amazing.
They missed Harry Potter trivia night the other day, a couple weeks ago.
You forgot to remind us.
It's not my job. I told you guys. I'm not a Harry Potter person.
Potterheads.
Something. I think that would be cool.
I'm sure there's a podcast called Potterheads already.
I'm sure you can come up with something.
Yeah.
There's
anyway,
so much
we're going to talk Star Wars, not Harry Potter.
Yeah, I know. We wouldn't have Star Wars.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a draft, and we have a full list of characters. Mainly, it's characters who have come into contact with Palpatine in some way, shape, or form in the movies. We kept animated characters out of it. As much as I wanted to put characters like Sabine or Ahsoka or someone in there.
I was shocked when her name wasn't on this list.
I stuck to the live action characters that we've seen in the saga movies.
Most people only know the movies.
Exactly,
so it makes sense.
And I included the Rogue One characters because even though they don't come into contact with him, they're battling the Empire and the Death Star in that movie.
One character that you could have put that was animated was Ezra, because he did have contact with...
Yes, but I felt like keeping it to live action was the safer bet to go. So let's get to this, guys, because it's going to be a fun conversation. And I'm going to go ahead and let Brian do this first.
Me?
I was going to say we should start... Like, he's going to say his 3, but he should start from his... if he has somebody from the number 1... He starts with his lowest.
So I think
what we should move up to the.
I think what we should do is we should just go around in a circle and draft one player at a time, like an actual draft.
But we can still choose the same people, though.
Yes. Yeah. It's just our specific team. It's not like a draft where that player comes off the board.
That I like that. Well, we might not have the same number.
Dang,
exactly.
We should have done that
But
when
also,
that one person gets taken off the board.
I know that. We'll do that at a later date.
But also, we should. Like at the end, we should explain why we put all 3 of those, or all 4 of those people together,
Totally,
and why they work good as a team. You
totally.
know,
You know what I just thought of that I didn't see on the list? You didn't put Yoda on the list, did you?
No, because I felt like our $8 players are stacked with Force users already, and Yoda. You know, even though he battles, he's in the saga at the time. That Palpatine's really at the height of his power. He's kind of just a hermit at Dagobah. You know what I mean?
He did fight him.
Yeah, he did, but I felt like...
but he did lose.
Yeah. So
who would want to pick a loser against Palpatine?
I mean, we can add a Yoda right now if someone's going to choose him.
I think, seriously, everyone on this list has lost to Palpatine at one point.
At some point.
Except Rey.
Except for who?
Rey.
True.
Rey beat him. So let's go do this, guys. So, Brian, your number 1 overall draft pick, who's it going to be?
My number 1 overall draft pick was Luke. Like, how do you pick against Luke?
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. I'm like, I was sitting there like, yeah, that'd be a cool one. Yeah, that'd be a cool one. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's freaking Luke Skywalker. Like, whose name is attached to this? Luke Skywalker. Like, whose job was it in the beginning to beat Palpatine? Luke Skywalker. So I was just like, I can't not pick him. As much as I wanted to grab someone else just for the fun of it, I was like,
So,
no.
question: which Luke Skywalker?
Yeah,
because
there's different versions.
If I were choosing Luke, I know exactly which one I would choose. But who would you choose? Which era?
Or which movie?
I would go, if I had to, the end of The Last Jedi.
Okay.
I like that choice.
Yeah,
I like that choice.
That's what I would go with too. Because I was gonna say Last Jedi Luke. I think he would smack Palpatine around.
Yeah.
We would never see that, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
Like, because it depends if Palpatine has that life essence thing. If he would have went and faced him before he sucked the life force out of Kylo and Rey, Luke would have smacked him around.
Totally.
Yeah. So, yeah. End of The Last Jedi Luke would be my overall number one.
All right, moving on to pick number 2, Mr. Bartley.
That's a great choice. I did not choose Luke. I thought about it.
Round 2, I should say. Round 2.
Round one.
Pick 2. Yeah.
So I approach this like I do fantasy football, right? Like,
And we all know how serious you are there.
But look,
How many times have you won fantasy football?
Well, I won one league this year, which was great.
Okay.
It was my first time winning. But you want to go with your heart, but you have to choose the best player.
Yep.
And looking at it logically, the only thing that makes sense, my number one choice to lead my team is Rey. And the reason being, she literally beat Palpatine by herself with all the Jedi, running through her, I guess. I don't know how that works, if it was just like more of a pep talk or they're actually like physically like channeling.
It's a force talk.
Channeling power through her, Either way, I just think it makes the most sense because, look, I wanted to choose Luke. I wanted to choose Vader. But I'm like, even though they technically defeat him at the end of Return of the Jedi, they still, they barely defeated him at the end of Return of the Jedi.
They didn't really defeat him, they just threw him over a ledge.
Yeah, it was kind of like a sucker punch almost. He picked him up while he was in the middle of the, the lightning, force lightning. So I just think if we're going to, if I'm a betting man and I'm like, okay, the one person who actually just obliterated Palpatine, that makes sense because technically she did it by herself. And this just depends, right? If we're, who knows what Palpatine we're facing against? If we're facing against Palpatine in his prime, fully powered Palpatine, Rey probably doesn't even have a chance, but it just depends.
Would you say that he wasn't in his? I know that he was dead.
It's weird. Who
was
knows?
he in his prime in the Rise? Because, dude, we've never seen that kind of power from Palpatine. He was that's power.
I would say his prime was episode 3.
I think that's what a lot of people go to.
Yeah,
because we saw him with the lightsaber and everything. It's a little bit different than the original trilogy.
It's very different. In the Rise of Skywalker, he just came back from being almost dead, and he was kind of he didn't really have agility or anything like that. I'm imagining okay, Palpatine with a lightsaber and force lightning and being able to fight in the Revenge of the Sith. So I'm thinking Revenge of the Sith. Palpatine. So
maybe we can say that his prime is the prequels, but he's at his most powerful in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. And it's kind of like that with Luke. Maybe you want after, a couple years after Return of the Jedi Luke, where he's probably the most powerful, but he's really, or most, physically powerful, but he's probably really the most powerful in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
But to lead my team, my top tier player is Rey.
Are we saying, can I just say, are we saying that Rey is the most powerful Star Wars character ever?
I don't think so. I just think circumstances led to that.
I'm not going to say no. The problem is, I don't think we've seen enough of her at that power.
Well, that's the thing. She probably will become that because look what she did. She's still in her sophomore season. If you will. You know what I mean?
I know that Luke. We never got to see the chance to. We never got the chance to see Luke in his real prime in between those 30 years.
I think it's still Luke.
I do too, but. We saw more of him, so that's why the argument's kind of leaning towards his side. But who knows if he was ever able to channel the Force and the Jedi like she was able to. Yeah. And so, I don't know. Because we'll never know.
She might learn to Force project herself without dying in the
future. Who knows? There's a high possibility of that.
But as of right now, it's definitely Luke.
Okay.
Okay, so round 1, pick number 3 for me. I was going back and forth between a couple. I had my favorite on there, Mr. Qui-Gon Jinn. I wanted to go with him, but my pick is also Rey. She was the
sense,
one,
right?
Wow. She was the one.
I thought you were for sure locked, Luke.
If we hadn't seen the finale of The Rise of Skywalker and what she was able to do, I wouldn't have picked her.
No, yeah,
but because of that moment,
choosing Rise of Skywalker.
So am I. That's the exact moment I'm choosing as well. Luke was definitely the one that she battled with. Because it's Luke mother effing Skywalker. Like, that's just, it's who he is. It's what Star Wars is built on, that name. But seeing what she was able to do in that movie, from not just for that movie as well, but where she came from, The Force Awakens, and how we talked about how powerful she was instantly, to now learning that she is of Palpatine's blood, and that she has this ability to channel everyone from the past.
Hey, she might have the most beef with Palpatine. We were talking about Maul and Vader.
She's literally related to him.
He killed her. He ordered to kill her parents.
Yes. Yeah,
which was his son. That's all crazy.
Yeah, I would say the most beef is his dead kid. That he murdered.
You remember in
her parents
in Infinity War when Star-Lord and Thor are like talking about all the stuff they went through, like family drama? Can you imagine Rey explaining hers in that moment?
She's just sitting in the back like, guys, please, like, don't even.
So my parents left me on Palpatine's son and I'm Palpatine's granddaughter, like crazy.
All right, so a recap of round 1. Brian picked Luke Skywalker and Jake and I picked Rey. Let's move on to round number 2.
Number 2, you can't have Luke without Leia.
Ooh.
So I went with Leia.
Just a reminder, so the round 1 was the $8 players.
Yeah.
We're moving now on to round 2, and this can be a combination of either $5 or a $3 player, depending on how we want to spend our money. So Brian just went with Leia, and she's ranked at number $5.
Yes. They're twins. You can't have one without the other.
Especially after seeing The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes. She is, in my opinion, arguably one of the most powerful characters, because she is brains, and brains can
even without the Force.
Yeah.
Which era? Yeah. Which era?
Or
what movie, I should say.
Honestly, I would probably go. I don't know, because she's a force to be reckoned with when she's young, but she's wise when she's old.
And she can fly in space when she's old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Okay. I think she would be probably at her most deadliest when we never saw it, but when she was probably training with Luke.
So the moment you're choosing is the flashback. Which is fine. That's totally fine.
Crap, I didn't even think about
like that.
I'm torn with that though, because I really think she is super powerful when she's older, like in the sequels. But
clock's ticking. You're on the clock.
I think
and I bet you she could still swing a lightsaber.
Yeah.
We didn't see it, but she probably still can.
Just like Luke did
if she trained.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think I'm gonna actually change, and I'm gonna go like Last Jedi Leia. Because she's just so like wise and knows what she's doing, and she's calculating.
She was great in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Like, performance-wise, it's Carrie Fisher.
Yeah,
and what's funny is she was gone for a big chunk of the movie too.
Yeah,
true.
Because she was on a deathbed essentially.
Thing,
and she's so calculated, like with everything.
Well, yeah, she's so smart. Like that in that line that is like, "Why are you looking at me?" Like that, like just that. Like she's.
I love when she stuns Poe.
Yeah, I know.
Like she's on a cane, like barely waking up. And she's like, bam.
She got a bandage on her head.
I mean, young Leia is more like can fight and stuff, but that was never really her thing. Her thing was her brain, and they say you're wisest is when you're old. So I guess I'd go with Last Jedi.
All right, Last Jedi Leia. On to pick number 2 of round 2.
All right, so I'm imagining this like, okay, we're facing maybe Revenge of the Sith Palpatine, right? And we got to stop this. It's like an endgame thing, right? They got to travel back in time and stop Palpatine before he does what he does in Revenge of the Sith. Basically stopping Order 66,
Did you just bring time travel back?
Well, no, listen.
I zoned out for a second looking at my picks, and then I heard this.
Characters
and I was
from
like,
different eras, right? So I'm like, Rey's like, all right, the only way to defeat Palpatine, I got to travel back in time. Who am I going to grab?
I'm looking at the list, and I don't have no idea who you're talking about right now.
She's like, who am I going to grab to go face Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith?
I might know.
And so my next pick is actually Leia Organa.
Okay.
But it's Leia in the flashback from Rise of Skywalker when Luke is training her. So basically, I mean, we could assume that she was almost done with her training, is what Luke said. So she was like the best she could have possibly been as a Jedi at that point, like as an actual Jedi. So I just imagine like Rey as a Jedi and Leia as a Jedi, because the way the numbering worked out, because it's hard, you can't really choose 2 Jedi in this thing, right? Like from the way it works out. But this way I can, because if we're taking Rey and then Leia in that flashback, and can you imagine them two, like young versions of them with lightsabers facing Palpatine? How amazing that would be.
Can you imagine those two just together, like side to side, just like this, about to fight someone?
That's probably my favorite shot in The Rise of Skywalker, when Rey and Ben are like this.
Yeah.
It looks so awesome. So yeah, that's my choice.
I wonder if that's the one I probably could have put on here is Ben Solo.
Yeah, you put...
I put Kylo. I didn't put Ben.
Yeah. Well, you also put Darth Vader and not Anakin.
Mm-hmm. I did that on purpose, though.
Hashtag save Ben Solo.
Because honestly, I might have chose Anakin. Like,
I probably would have picked him too.
Maybe like
a pissed off Anakin.
Episode 3 Anakin. Beginning of episode 3 Anakin.
Well, I was gonna say like,
I would have picked Darth Vader in the hallway.
Rogue One Vader.
You could have
Rogue One Vader.
Where he's just swinging people around.
So yeah, that's my pick is Leia, Jedi Leia. Yeah.
Oh man, this is so hard. Okay, pick 3 of round 2 for me. There's literally a handful that I can go with, but I am gonna go with a very different choice, and I'm going with Chewbacca. I'm picking Chewbacca at $5.
I thought you might have picked the scoundrel.
Han Solo is one of my all-time favorites. He is. But there's something about Chewie with Rey that just clicks.
And the crossbow.
Well, the crossbow, he can fly the hell out of a ship.
Yeah.
He has connections elsewhere, right? Like he can bring his Kashyyyk army if he wanted to, or or any friends. But just seeing him through the original trilogy and the sequels, there's just something about that character with Rey that connects and resonates. Like that moment in The Rise of Skywalker when she gets in the Falcon for the first time and he says something and she says, "I know." It's almost like that he says like, "We're home," like we're back, and they just have like this connection with each other. So I'm gonna pick Chewie at $5.
It's like, so Han died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
He did.
I think other than Leia and Lando, Chewie attached himself to Rey after that, because he became like, obviously he's with her in The Last Jedi. He goes with her to get Luke.
Yeah, and
it's like how much time they probably spent together that week off screen, and basically she became his new Han in a way, like the human that he connects himself to most. So that's a great choice.
It's hard. I wanted to go with Han Solo so bad.
And if you need somebody to like take out all the stormtroopers while Rey's fighting Palpatine, that's a perfect choice.
Yes. Well, and I wanted to go with Solo. The problem that I came across is that I wanted to go with Empire Strikes Back Solo.
That's what I would have.
But that Solo wouldn't go well with Rey, I don't think. Old Solo does. They're completely two different characters. And I don't have a problem with older Solo, but the best Solo to me is Empire Strikes Back Solo. And
Han's not really a fighter,
exactly. He's just a flyer.
He's a great pilot, and he can shoot, but he's not a fighter, you know? Yeah. Which he doesn't have to be to do what he does. Chewie's the better half. Chewie is a warrior.
Dude, he's
I wouldn't call
boss.
Han a warrior. Han is a soldier and like a pilot.
He's a general. He's a general.
Everything, but
he's a general.
Chewie is a warrior.
Yes. Yeah. All right, well, moving on to round number 3. Pick number 1. This is where it gets crazy because at the moment, each of us are sitting at $13, and we only have $2 left, and that moves us to the $1 players. And the $1 players we have left at the moment are Zori Bliss, Maz Kanata, Snap Wexley, R2-D2, BB-8, General Hux, C-3PO, and Jar Jar Binks. So now this is a great combination of 2 players with a $1 count. Who are you going with, Brian?
So I went with, for mine, R2-D2 as my third pick. R2-D2 is the smartest robot to ever have come across the screen. You can argue C-3PO, but he's gotten his memory wiped at some point. So R2-D2 is just kind of like this force of a robot. Like, I mean,
which one are you going with?
Probably.
There's so many good versions of this character throughout the movies.
I would probably take him at his most knowledgeable, in my opinion, which would be Return of the Jedi, because he's not really used in the sequel. Like he's
mainly in Rise of Skywalker. He's with Poe in the ship. That's it.
He kind of, honestly, out of all the characters from the originals, kind of got the shortest stick.
Yeah.
In those movies. So like, I don't even consider him a huge part of those movies. So I would probably pick Episode 6 because he's gone through all of those. Well, he was in Rogue One, so 7.
Yeah, and George
films.
Lucas has always said from the day that he created Star Wars is that Star Wars is told by in a story form is told by R2 in a different point in time. It's like he's telling a story. And whether or not
been there for all of it,
whether or not that fits in with the sequels, but if you really look at that from the prequels and the originals, it really does make sense that him and maybe even C-3PO in some far distant time are telling the story of this time.
They are the first characters we see on screen ever.
Yep.
So
I mean, R2-D2 literally was on Mustafar when Anakin turned.
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
He was like,
and he's the only one who has been through everything and remembers it all. Like,
well, and he gives C-3PO's memory back. Like he's got this backup that like no other droid has ever gotten.
Yeah. So I mean,
do you think C-3PO got it back from the beginning? Because in episode 3 they wiped C-3PO's memory.
Yeah.
Do you think he gave him back from the prequels too?
No, because I think they wiped R2 too.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Oh, they didn't?
R2's never been wiped.
I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Bail Organa says like, let's wipe the C-3PO.
That's an interesting question.
And then R2-D2 laughs at it.
It very well could be.
Yeah, he remembers. R2 remembers everything.
He was turned on in episode 1, right?
I think when he got his reset, it was probably about.
Well, he's one of the droids on the ship, on Padme's ship.
Yes.
Saves them.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to guess, it was probably
when they first
episode
met.
set. Oh, when
I think he probably gave 3PO his memory to when they first met.
Okay, that would make sense. But that would mean in the prequels, which is cool.
Because R2 in Rise of Skywalker is like, I'm your best friend. Like, and then 3PO plays with that joke or whatever. And I think that's probably what they're doing.
Rise of Skywalker. Bubba Frick.
Yeah.
Bubba Frick. He's
I thought about putting him on this list. I
might have chose him just out of a guilty pleasure if you would have done that.
All right, so you would pick one in round 3. Brian picks R2. Jacob, who do you got, man? Pick number 2.
Yeah, so I was calculating my math wrong, and
you're an English major.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Terrible at math. So for some reason I thought I was gonna pick Lando, but that would be 16, so I can't. Because I was like, even though Rey's a pilot, I want her to focus on Jedi stuff, so we need a pilot. Yep. But so I'll be able to choose 2 number $1 players now. So
there's a couple pilots in there.
You gotta have a droid. Yeah. And I'm gonna go with BB-8 because I love R2. R2 is so underrated. He saves them. Without R2, they would have died so many times.
Everyone would have
died the very first time anything ever happened.
They would have died in episode 1.
A New Hope, they would have died.
Well, Padme's ship would have got blown up in episode 1, and none of this happens ever. Right? They don't go to nothing. Yep. So he is responsible for saving their butts so many times. But
I like how you're making a great argument for why you should have picked R2-D2.
And I also want to go different from you. Like that, we already have Leia together, so I don't want to be too similar. So I'm going to choose BB-8 because he's more agile. He's more like R2. Even though I don't understand how R2 rolls through the sand, but he does. But
I've never thought about that.
You know what's funny?
BB-8 can roll through the sand.
I've never thought about that.
Because he has like little wheels.
Yeah, it's flat. It's
maybe he can fly.
Maybe he has a different traction,
hovering a a little bit over.
Maybe he puts different wheels on. Maybe he puts different wheels on. Maybe sand wheels. Who knows?
Maybe. But because for all these missions, like there's so many times where the droid saves their butt. So I am gonna go with BB-8 just because there's so many things he can do. He's more modern. He's more up to date. So his technology is more advanced. So I'm gonna go with BB-8, and he can roll through sand without me questioning it. So yeah, I'm going with BB-8.
Okay, moving on to
Rey has such a good connection with BB-8.
Round 3.
And BB-8 has his little thumbs up.
Man, I'm loving my team. Can you imagine Jedi Leia training Jedi Rey, and they got BB-8 with them?
I like that you have women saving the galaxy.
Why not?
I like it. No. I'm
They're
saying
the
that's
most
a good
powerful.
thing. That's what I'm saying.
I still think that Leia might be the most powerful Force user ever, but that's just me. I'm also going BB-8 for my pick number 3.
Nice.
I'm essentially picking the Rise of Skywalker team at the very end.
You are. Basically. And I picked the original trilogy.
Yeah. I'm picking Force Awakens BB-8.
Okay.
That the instant connection that BB-8 has with Rey, which is the main reason why I picked it. There's nothing more than R2 is like a top 5 character for me all time. Maybe even top 3. But because of Rey, I think that BB-8 fits better with her. We saw R2 with Rey when they went to Octo. They were like he was with her, but we never saw the connection that she had with BB-8. It was instant. It was a heartbeat, and it was so much so that Poe essentially is like, he's yours now. Like he's traveled. As far as we know, BB-8's traveling the galaxy with Rey on the Falcon and Chewie, and it just kind of fits.
I still think he's Poe's, but she can take him anytime she wants.
Well, the reason I say that is because I think R2 is Poe's now. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it.
He's in his X-wing at the end of Rise of Skywalker,
which is that's why I think BB-8 might be Rey's now. And it seems like every major character needs a droid. Whose droid is Rey's? It's BB-8.
Yeah,
like it just fits.
I mean, she was the one that found him in the desert.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I'm choosing BB-8 with my first $1 pick.
Nice.
Round 4, pick 1.
My last pick in my draft. I went with Maz Kanata.
That's a great pick.
She's been connections.
She might need to be in the higher tier, to be honest.
So
honestly, her at a good deal.
She was originally in the $3 pick, but I kind of wanted to balance it out a little bit.
Because she's wise. She has connections. She might be force sensitive. I mean, she
wasn't a deleted scene.
She
wasn't a deleted scene.
I mean, she's been around for a long time, from what we've heard. She's very knowledgeable of what's going on. And she always seems to be able to have a hand in anything she wants. And
every time they have a question for her, she knows an answer.
Exactly.
Every time.
And she seems to be always there at the important parts.
And she owns a great bar.
Well, she did.
Can't go wrong with that.
She did.
She did. Yeah. Sorry, she did.
But yeah, I know, right? But yeah, no, I chose her with mine. I needed someone that was could just know everything, and if someone Palpatine, he knows everything. Even though he hasn't been around for thousands of years or whatever, he has the knowledge of thousands of years. So rebuttal it with Maz Kanata.
I mean, she knew about Luke's saber and with Rey in the Force Awakens, and she obviously has knowledge for 1,000 years because, like Han said, she's been running the watering hole for 1,000 years. Imagine the type of characters that have come in there and the information she knows.
Exactly. She's like a treasure trove.
She's the Tom Brady of this draft because she's at $1 and she could easily be a $5 player. Easily be a $5 player.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Yeah, that's my last.
All right, pick number 2, round 4.
So I'm looking at my team and I'm wondering who would benefit the rest of my team the most. And I think I'm going to go with Zori Bliss. Because, first of all, I'm going to have her be the pilot.
You have to have some attractive lady, didn't you? Huh?
I mean, all 3 of them.
That's true.
All 3.
Dang, you did almost go with the fully stacked.
It's all women except BB-8.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if he's a male or a female.
He is a male. They call him he.
Okay.
Yeah, call him he.
Fair enough.
But, man, lucky guy BB-8, just with these 3 women. But, so, first of all, even though it's very minimal, I like the Rey and Zori Bliss interactions in the Rise of Skywalker. I love when she says, you might not care, but I think you're okay. And Rey's like, I care. Because that's such a Rey thing, because she does care whether people like her or not, whether that's good or bad.
Because she's been alone for her whole life.
Exactly. So even just a total stranger, she cares about. And look, she's going to be the pilot. She had that little chip thing that was going to get them past the first order.
It wasn't the captain's
block
code
thing. So she is going to figure.
Medallion.
She's going to figure that stuff out. I wouldn't be surprised. What is it called? Code break, what Jyn Erso used to do.
Code breaker. This is code breaker.
I wouldn't be surprised if she knows how to do that. She knows people like Babu Freak. She knows she has connections, not as much as Maz Kanata, but. So I could just totally see her. They need someone to get them through the galaxy.
Kind of an underworld type-ish person where she can sneak in.
Exactly. So I would choose Zori Bliss out of those options that I have. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the final pick of the draft. I'm as well going with Zori Bliss. And the reason why is because if I can't have Han Solo, I want a smuggler on my team, and she's a smuggler.
Exactly.
She's 100% a smuggler, but she's almost like a bounty hunter smuggler, which is a very cool combination. And I mean, you listed all the reasons why she's great. She's a great fighter. We didn't really see her in hand to hand as much as I really wanted to, but as far as what we know, she's an incredible pilot. And having another pilot on your team is not a bad idea. And just like Maz, she seems like she knows a lot of people, which is a good thing to have on your team. So
plus, you kind of get Babu Frick because she took him off the planet. In her ship.
Babu and Zori are together. Yeah. So
damn, I would totally not mind a spin-off show with just them two.
And Carrie Russell would 1000% do it.
She's so Zori Bliss and Babu Frick. That's it. Yeah. And they're just running around the galaxy.
I would love to see a Poe Zori Bliss.
Well, they're doing a book.
I know the book, but I'm saying like those two as like young.
Can you imagine a Disney Plus series with just Poe and her?
Unfortunately, Oscar Isaac said he'll never do one. So,
did he really?
A Disney Plus series, or
he said he
play Poe.
He said he won't do a series for Poe. He said he feels like his story's done.
Got it.
So
okay, if he feels like his story's done, that's fine. But they need to get over this. I'm not going to TV type thing. That's ridiculous.
It's not even TV anymore.
So, all right. Well, there's our draft, guys. Why don't we round out our players? Brian, why don't you start us off? What is your official team?
So my official team was Luke Skywalker, Leia Skywalker. I'm calling her that.
That's fine.
Yeah, why not? She was a Skywalker at the end of the movie.
She was.
R2-D2 and Maz Kanata.
Nice. I'm going Rey Palpatine.
Oh.
Leia Skywalker.
You said Rey Palpatine?
BB-8.
Wow.
And Zori Bliss. And they're going to destroy Palpatine. And they're going to travel through the world between worlds to destroy Palpatine and revenge the Sith before Order 66. And then we get to see Anakin raise his kids, change the timeline with Ahsoka.
Wow.
Boom.
Dang. We just created a multiverse.
We just went
Star Wars Time Heist is what it's going to be called.
Oh my god.
All right, I'm going with Rey Skywalker. I have Chewbacca, and then I have BB-8 and Zori Bliss as my team. So
I chose the Rey who's like teetering on the dark side, and you chose
I chose Skywalker.
Full light side Rey.
I chose full light side Rey.
Nice.
So, is there anybody that like? What's the one player that you guys just it burns you that you weren't able to pick in this draft?
I wanted to go Darth Vader.
Which one would you have
picked?
picked?
I'm surprised you didn't say Obi-Wan.
Honestly, Rogue One Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though that's essentially a New Hope Darth Vader, right? I mean, it literally is.
Yeah.
So that era Darth Vader, because I feel like even though we didn't really see it in A New Hope, he's probably the most powerful at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. Maybe 5 years before that, he's more powerful. Who knows? But yeah, I really wanted to go with Darth Vader because he did kind of beat Palpatine too in a way. Like they won that fight, you know. He didn't destroy him at that time, I guess, but they won that fight. So that was tough because at first, before we decided on the number total, the amount total, I was gonna go Luke and Vader and call it a day. But I'm glad I didn't get to do that because it made it more interesting and more fun. So
yeah, if I would have picked Vader, I would have. It's funny. I just
my
watched.
Whole team would have been different too if I chose Vader.
I just watched the season 2 finale of Rebels last night, and I that's the Vader I would have picked when he shows up on the TIE fighter. And it's like this glowing.
I mean, it's close to Rogue One also.
But if it was sticking to live action, I would have picked the second he was named Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith. Because he is unhinged, he's angry. There's no stopping him. He literally killed younglings. That's the Vader I would have picked.
He should have killed Palpatine right there.
Yeah, 100%. But like Brian said, I'm surprised he didn't pick Obi-Wan. He's your all-timer.
Well, that's all right. Remember how I was saying I want to go with my heart.
That would have been your heart.
Exactly.
That was your heart.
My heart would have been to choose Obi-Wan, right?
Got it.
But I'm just thinking like. It depends which Obi-Wan, but no, I probably would have chosen Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan if I did.
100%.
Which would have been dope.
100%.
I just think it just made more sense to me. Like, Rey literally defeated Palpatine, so it's smart. Yeah.
I would have picked, again, out of the heart, Kylo Ren, but I don't see him being able to beat Palpatine. He doesn't think clearly.
At least without, like, not with the rest of the players you would have been able to put with him.
Exactly.
Ben Solo's a different story.
Maybe,
exactly.
Maybe Kylo Ren with Rey or Kylo Ren with Luke or something, but not just Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren is a singular there for himself.
Palpatine
he's not going to work
him.
Yeah. So even the time, I mean, to me, even the times that he is Kylo Ren, like the throne where they killed the Praetorian guards, to me, that's kind of Ben Solo-y. He's not. He's working together with Rey. He's not Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is always, I'm there for myself. So that's why I was kind of like, no, you can't really pick him. But I love me some Kylo Ren.
I very much teetered, and I mentioned I wanted to pick Solo, but I very much teetered between picking K2SO or Chirrut.
Chirrut came to my mind too.
He could have been sneaky as a team member, but because he wasn't with the other players, that's why I didn't pick him. And then the other one that I was really bummed that I couldn't pick was someone like Padme, who has the connection with so many people. She's not much of a fighter, obviously, but
she's a politician.
She's almost like a spy. You know, like she kind of gets into the cracks that a lot of people can't get into. And then Wedge is always a great one too. I mean, you can't go wrong with Mr. Wedge.
I wanted Lando as my pilot, but I didn't have enough money for that, and I thought about choosing K2SO as well.
Like that at the very end of Rogue One, that K2SO, my goodness.
My favorite thing still to this day, probably in my top 10 favorite moments, is when he smacks him and he goes, quiet. There's this fresh one where that comes from.
I wish I could have chose Jyn Erso instead of Zoe Bliss, but the way the money worked out, I couldn't. But I'm fine with Zoe Bliss.
I thought about putting her at $1, but I felt like she was too good of a character to be a $1 player.
I mean, she's the main character.
Yeah.
If I came close to probably adding anyone into my list, it probably would have been her. She was probably the one that I was trying to figure out.
She's a badass, man. She's a badass.
Yeah. So
I mean, as far as physically fighting, like if you were just to say, all right, nobody has the Force, we're just gonna like have them hand-to-hand combat, she might beat everyone on this list hand-to-hand combat wise.
She's a badass.
Like she is a badass.
She would probably even beat Rey hand-to-hand combat. No Force, no Jedi powers or anything. Because look at what she does in Rogue One. She's whooping butt. So yeah, she's a great choice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll make sure to put this list up after this video ends. I'll put a list together for you guys to do it.
Put it in the description so everyone could.
Yeah. I'll put an image up at the very end, and then I'll put it in the description as well. Yeah. But for now, make sure you guys let us know what you think of our teams. Who would you pick at the $8 tier? 5, 3, and 1. We'd love to hear of you guys' teams and where you rank ours. Who has the best squad? Who do you think has the best chance to beat Palpatine? I definitely don't think it's Brian, but I'm just kidding. Any last words, guys?
You're not.
Any last words?
No, you're not. You totally think mine's like me.
You and I have the same list, except I have Jedi Leia and you have Chewbacca.
I highly consider picking Leia because
so we almost had the same. Well,
because it's crazy. Because she's Rey's master.
Yeah,
because she's Rey's master. That's the reason why I almost picked her.
One of them. Yeah. And probably for the longest, because she was only with Luke for a couple days, I think. Yeah.
You guys went with safe choices.
Did we?
What? Luke's the safest of all of them.
No. I would say so.
Luke, Leia, R2.
Yeah. I went for the originals.
Those are pretty safe. All right, guys, there it is, our Padawan podcast for this week. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, make sure you guys find us not just on YouTube, but audio as well. Anchor, Apple, Spotify, Google, anywhere you can find podcasts, we are up on there. Make sure you guys share and like this video, as well as comment and subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. More subscriptions put us higher on the list and make sure that we can do more videos like this. We love doing it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So for Brian, Jacob, myself, this is the Padawan Podcast for Apocaflix Movies. As always, thank you for joining us, and may the Force be with you.